Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be talking about cancellation and timeouts in coroutines. In our previous video, we have talked about basics of coroutines. If you haven't watched that video yet, you can watch it using the I button or using the link in the description. So let's start with this video. I'll go to my IntelliJ editor. So here I'll show you how you can cancel a running coroutine. So the first question arises, why do we need to cancel any coroutine? In a long running application, you need a fine-grained control on your background coroutines. For example, a user might have closed the application that launched a coroutine and its result is no longer required. So in that case, we can cancel its operation. So in this video, we will learn how we can cancel a background coroutine. So I'll quickly write my first method. So I'll start with a main function. So here in this function, I'll be launching a coroutine and then I'll try to cancel it in between its computation. So for that, I need to create a coroutine first. So what I'll do, I'll simply write a method here. I'll call it cancel coroutine, and then I'll add a run blocking, inside which I'll be launching a coroutine. So I'll use this coroutine builder, inside which I'll inside which I'll uh, inside which I'll use repeat. So here I'll pass a number 20 and I'll ask this block to be repeated 20 times. So inside this block I'll simply add a delay of 500 millisecond, and then I'll simply print a statement here. So here I'll print fetch data, and then I'll print the number of times here. So inside this block, I'm just trying to mimic a computation. Let's assume that we are doing some API call which is taking 500 millisecond to respond. Okay. So if you go inside this launch function, you will get to see that it returns me a job. So using this job, I can cancel a coroutine. So first I'll create a variable here. I'll call it job. And then now we have a reference to this coroutine. So next I'll add a delay here. So here I'll simply put a 600 millisecond delay, and then I'll print a statement. I'll say no more waiting. Okay, and then what I'll do, I'll simply use job cancel method, and then job also has a method called join, and then I'll print another statement. I'll call it main ends here. So what we are doing here, we have launched a coroutine and then we have stored the reference in this job variable, and using that reference we are cancelling this coroutine. So I'll simply run this code and we'll see what is the output. So in the output we can see that the coroutine which we have launched has printed this phase data lines only 3 times, and then it printed this no more waiting after 600 milliseconds of delay, and then it called cancel and join, which cancel our coroutine. So using the job reference we are able to cancel the coroutine. In place of cancel and join, we have a combined function where you can use cancel and join this method, which is similar to those two functions cancel and join separately. Instead of calling two functions, we can call cancel and join and it will work as same. So if I run this test, we will get the similar output. So here you can see we got the similar output. So this is another function which we can use. So next we will go back to our slide. So now we have seen cancelling coroutine execution. So the next is cancellation is cooperative. So the next thing we will see is how coroutine cancellation is cooperative. So let me tell you that every suspending function is cancelable and it checks for cancellation and throws an cancellation exception. So let me show you how it works. So what I'll do, I'll quickly copy this code here and I'll simply change its name. I will call this function cooperative cancellation. Okay. So here in this function, I'll do a little modification. I'll simply replace this delay with a thread.sleep, and then we will see what is the difference. Okay. So here I'll put 500 millisecond. So here I'll call the cooperative cancellation. So we will see what is the output for this cooperative cancellation method. Okay. Let's see. So in the output you can see that this coroutine is not being cancelled and it has printed phase data from 0 to 19, and then it has printed no more waiting and main ends here. So here you can see that this coroutine has not been cancelled. Okay, so as we know that this is a blocking call, let me do one more change. So here I'll simply add a default dispatcher. I'll use dispatchers.default. So let me rerun this code and see if the output changes. Yeah, so here you can see that no more waiting is printed after printing these three lines. Okay, that means this block, that means this block of code runs on a different thread once we add dispatcher.default. That means this block got executed in a different thread so that this method can be called. After adding this default dispatcher, this block got executed in a different thread so that this method can be called. But even after calling this method, our coroutine does not get cancelled. So let me reverse this change again and we will try to see what is the difference. So I'll remove the default dispatcher for now and let's see what is the output. So currently this line got printed after 3 lines. If I rerun this example again, let's see, here we did not get that waiting statement. Okay, so if you see our function prints this 20 lines, then it printed this no more waiting. That means after that this function is being called because this thread.slip is a blocking, right? Once we add a dispatcher here, default dispatcher here, what it does, it simply run this block in a different thread so that this function can be called. Okay, so using a default dispatcher, if I rerun this example, you can see that we have got this line after 3 lines got printed, right? That means we called this function but still our coroutine is not cancelled. The reason here is that we don't have any suspending function inside this block. As I mentioned earlier, every suspending function is cancelable. That means a suspending function keeps on checking if this coroutine has been cancelled, and if it finds that the coroutine has been cancelled, it throws an cancellation exception. So currently, as we don't have any suspending function inside this block is not able to figure it out whether this coroutine has been cancelled or not. So two ways to identify cancellation yourself is that the first one, you can add a function called yield. So this is a suspending function. If you see this symbol, it says that this is a suspending function. You can also go inside this function and you can see it has a keyword suspend. That means it's a suspending function. If I rerun this example again, let's see the significant change. What is the change we'll see in the output? So here you can see that now we are able to cancel the coroutine. That proves that every suspending function is cancelable and it checks for cancellation. So here now this is one way of identifying the cancellation yourself. The other way is to use an extension property is active. So let me remove this line. So here what I'll do, I'll simply add a if condition that will check for is active. So if you see, we have this extension property. If I go inside this, you can see that this is an extension property of coroutine scope, which will tell you if this coroutine has been cancelled or not. So if I see if this coroutine is cancelled, it is not active, then what I'll do, I'll simply throw a cancellation exception, because on cancellation of any coroutine it throws a cancellation exception. Okay, so if I rerun this example, we should get a same output. So in the output we can see that after printing these 3 lines, this no more waiting is printed and then this cancel and join is being called, which cancel our background coroutine. So these are the two ways using which you can manage cancellation of a coroutine by yourself. So here we have covered how we can make our computation cancelable, right? So we have covered this making computation cancelable. So next we will see how we can close resources on coroutine cancellation. So let me copy this code again. I'll simply change its name. I'll call it closing resources. Okay, and I'll do a little modification here. So I'll remove this. I'll use delay instead. So in this example, we'll try to understand how to close resources on any coroutine cancellation. So as I mentioned earlier that on coroutine cancellation, it throws a cancellation exception. So in that case, we can simply use try catch and finally block for closing our resources. So what I'll do, I'll simply move this block inside a try block, okay, and then I'll simply add a finally block which will be responsible for closing resources. So here I'll simply add a statement which will say that closing resources, okay. So if I run this example, let's see the output. I'll call closing resources. I'll simply comment the previous one. Now if I run this example, let's see the output. So here you can see that we got this output after no more waiting, because after no more waiting statement this cancel is being called, and due to which a exception is thrown, which is a cancellation exception, and then the control goes to the finally block. So here in the output we can see that we got this line closing resources printed just after this line. That means as soon as we call cancel and join, that means this block get cancelled and it throws an exception, due to which the control goes inside the finally block and it closes the resources, and then we print the final line here. So next we will see run non-cancelable block. What does this mean? So let's come to our example. So here what we have a try and final block. So let's assume that while closing any resources, if we have any suspending function involved inside this block, then what will happen? So as we know, closing any resources like closing a file or closing any communication channel is non-blocking and does not involve any suspending function. But in the rare case, let's assume we have some suspending function inside this block. Then what will happen? So let's add a suspending function here. Let's assume that this is some suspending function you're calling, which takes 1000 milliseconds to complete. So in that case, what will happen? So if I run this example again, let's see the output. So here now you can see that we didn't get that closing resources statement here, right? So why is it so? Because we have cancelled this coroutine. As I mentioned that any suspending function is cooperative and it checks for cancellation. That means this function will also get to know that this coroutine has been cancelled, and then this will also throw an exception. That means any attempt of using a suspending function inside a finally block will throw an cancellation exception, right? So what should we do in order to run a suspending function in finally block? So for that we have a with context function which takes non-cancelable context. So I'll quickly write that example. I'll duplicate this function again. I'll call it closing resources with non-cancelable block, okay, and I'll simply do a modification. I'll move this two line inside with context function, and I'll pass a context non-cancelable, and then inside this block I'll simply use these two lines. So let's call this function. I'll simply call closing with non-cancelable block. I'll comment out the first one. I'll run this example now, and let's see the output here. So now you can see that we got this closing resources output. That means we are able to run a suspending function inside finally block with using with context and non-cancelable. So if you see the documentation here, it says that a non-cancelable job that is always active, it is designed for with context function to prevent cancellation of a code blocks that needs to be executed without cancellation. That means you can use this with context whenever you need to run any suspending function inside finally block. So next, let's go to our slides. So next we will see timeouts. So we have functions like with timeout or null, and with context we have seen. So we will see with timeout and with timeout null or null. So when do we use with timeout function? So the most practical and obvious reason to cancel a coroutine because its execution time has exceeded some timeout. So we will see how to set a timeout for a coroutine. So for that I'll write a function here. So what I'll do, I'll simply copy this part, okay, and I'll write a separate function here. So here I'll call it with timeout, okay, and then run blocking, and inside this I'll use a function called with timeout. So with timeout here I can pass a time. I'll pass 1000 milliseconds, and inside this block what I'll do, I'll simply paste this previous code. Okay, so inside the timeout function what we have passed 1000 milliseconds, and inside this we are trying to print this line 20 times in an interval of 500 milliseconds. So let me run this function and see what is the output here. So I'll call with timeout. Okay, and then I'll comment the previous call. Okay, so if I run this example, let's see what happens. So here you can see that after the first line got printed, we got an exception. What does it say? It says timeout cancellation exception and timed out waiting for 1000 milliseconds. So here this block exceeded the timeout, that's why we are receiving this exception. So one thing to notice here is that for the first time we got this stack trace which is saying that we got a exception. For this also I was talking about getting an cancellation exception, right? Like I have mentioned earlier that on cancelling any coroutine we got a cancellation exception, then we haven't observed any stack trace. So why is it so? Because getting a cancellation exception is considered to be a normal reason for coroutine completion, but here in this case we have got an exception, and in this case this block has exceeded the timeout, and this needs to be informed so that we can optimize the computation inside this block. That is the reason this is throwing this stack trace, right? Now another variant of with timeout is with timeout or null. So I'll simply copy this function again. I'll call it with timeout or null. So we have another function with timeout or null. Okay, so if you use this function, what will happen? You will not get the stack trace. It will simply return null. So let me call this function here with timeout or null. Okay, I'll comment the previous call. So here if you use this function and if I run this example, you won't see any stack trace here, right? You haven't got any stack trace, rather you will get a null value. If I store this value in some variable and if I print this, you will see that the value is null. Inside this if I print, the result is, if I rerun this example, so here you can see that the result is null. That means after executing this block, we are getting a null value. So this is about timeout in coroutine. So that's it about this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and also share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe to it so that you never miss any updates on latest tech videos. Thank you for watching.